This is a little game that you could do forever in any language. And you'd never, and by the time you did it for a little while, you just go, dude, it's actually so easy to learn a language that the only thing left to do is use the language. It's completely possible and really quite easy to begin speaking any language instantly. In a recent video, I showed the verb vocab chart where we mix and match verbs and vocab to create instant conversation. Verb starting point, I study English. You get the idea. A follow-up question on that video said, okay, so where do we go from there? What about when we get a little more advanced? What about what happens next? And so in this video, I want to show how a verb vocab chart flows into what I call a 1, 2, 3 chart. 1, 2, 3 chart is 3 columns. The first is a statement. The second is a yes/no question. Third is an open-ended question. So let's pretend we're working with the verb study. Right? And if you haven't seen the other video, go check the other video. I'll put a little card there where you can click it. We did it in Spanish. We did it in Arabic. It's the same thing. This is a universal thing that verbs and vocab mix and match and create instant conversation. Right? So this could be Spanish, could be Portuguese, could be any language. The point is there's many statements on this verb vocab chart. For example, I study English every day. Okay? So I study English every day can turn into it goes this way as a statement. The yes/no form of that question is, do you study English every day? So a second ago, we were just pushing these buttons. We were going boom, boom, boom. And it's really clear to see how it's verb and vocab. Now we're so that's it broken down. Now we're reconstructing it, all right? But we're not reconstructing it into like a novel format, like just a complete page with no seams, okay? Here the seam is visible between verb and vocab. That's the whole point about verb vocab chart, okay? Now the seams aren't as clear between verb and vocab. We're going one step in reconstructing it to where you see the seam between statement question, yes, open-ended question, all right? So here it is. I study English every day, right? It's still verb vocab, but now we created a line between, okay, so I study English every day. Question for you. Tu estudias? Hel enta tedrus arabi kulium? Whatever the language is, get it? Open-ended question could be how often? How often do you study English? All right, that would be one complete set. I would use that to teach English or teach Spanish or teach whatever language, or I would use this, I do use this to teach myself languages, random languages that I've never heard of, like Kurmanji or like Hungarian. Not that I hadn't heard of it, but like things you don't even know a word of. You can instantly create conversation. All right, so this is the flow between verb vocab chart to 1, 2, 3 chart. We could repeat that process at least 6 times if we took the statement, I studied English. Did you study English? What did you study? Okay, you could populate the 1, 2, 3 chart at least 6 times because there's 6 like tenses here, 6 areas on the verb, on the tense aspect matrix, it's called. But it's actually way more than 6, because if you switched out English for Spanish or English, you have virtually infinite things you could say. So for example, I could say, I studied English today. Did you study? I studied Spanish. Did you study Vietnamese today? What language did you study today? Okay, so it's 6, but it's also infinite. All right, so long story short, the flow between the absolute first thing that you do, like the verb vocab chart, that's not a thing that you have to wait to do. Like you can do it in any language right away. The way it flows into the next, it's like this. We're building a little snowball. So the first part makes this little tiny snowball. It's enough to get the ball rolling. No. Once the ball starts rolling, it gets bigger, and so we zoom out. The 1, 2, 3 zooms out where you don't see the verb vocab, although it's still going on. That's not the main thing we're seeing, but rather we're contrasting statements and questions, which is the next level up. We'll have to. Someone will say, well, what do we do after that? We'll have to see what comes next after that. But you could do this forever. Like this is a little game that you could do forever in any language. And by the time you did it for a little while, you just go, dude, it's actually so easy to learn a language that the only thing left to do is use the language. It's like when a dog chases a car, like what my dad used to always say, what would it do if it caught it? Like it would be anticlimactic. You go, I just learned, like I basically know German or whatever. Like it took me a couple minutes, like hours, days max to learn how to do it. Well, shoot, the only thing that's left to do is for me to use German. I think maybe that's scary. I think people would rather keep the difficulty around because then they have a reason to say, well, of course I can't actually put it to use. Of course I can't go out and actually use German or speak German with real people and do the scary thing like jumping in the pool. I'm not jumping in the pool. It's cold. It's dangerous. I could drown. I could freeze. Like it's uncomfortable, you know? So don't blame me for not jumping in the pool because, well, look, the language is just so hard. I mean, there's just, look at this, it's German, there's cases. Oh my God, like there's der, die, dot, like, oh man, it's gonna take years to get through this. No, it takes minutes to get through. It takes minutes. It's instant. You have instant conversation. But I think sometimes people don't want to hear that because if you tell them, man, you can use the language right, it's like you can swim. Like you're not gonna be like the Olympic swimmer right away, but you can get into the cold pool. They're gonna be like, can I just read about it? Like, can I sit out over here and just read about it and study it for years and never get in the pool? We're taking that excuse away. We're completely taking the difficulty out of language structuring. This is your structure. Do this forever. Do it right away and do it forever until you realize that your snowball is so big it just rolls out of control. And you go, okay, I couldn't stop it if I tried.